Great to have you with us. Now, the Ghana Education Service, GES, has served notice henceforth that all teacher trainee graduates will take a licensing exam. GES says the move is aimed at developing the sector, and it applies to both trainee teachers graduating from public and private teacher trainee colleges. Our checks revealed the exams will take place in September. Now, some teacher associations have been reacting to this. My colleague Maxwell Agragba has been speaking to the Director of Public Relations of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, Peter Koda, who says GNAT is not entirely against the policy, but wants governments to address some issues first before rolling out the policy.
The news did not come to GNAT as a surprise, because this licensing issue is not a new thing. The only thing is that we have some critical issues we want to settle with the teacher's employer. When I talk about the teacher's employer, I'm talking about the GES, Ghana Education Service. You know, it's good because if you get the teacher licensed, it makes him a professional that can be compared to other professions. You know, when you go to the medical field, they also are licensed, nurses are licensed. So it's not a new thing, okay? And it all springs from the Education Act. So to us, we are not surprised at all. But as I said earlier, we have certain issues. The issue of standards. When you look at, you know, some of the teachers are trained from the colleges of education and others from the universities. University of Education, Winneba, and the University of Cape Coast. They all train teachers, okay? But a critical look at the curriculum will tell you that what they are doing at the universities and what they are doing at the colleges of education are not the same. That is a problem, a challenge, okay? So we've been talking about this, and we want it to be standardized so that what is done at the university and what is done at the colleges of education will be the same, because at the end of the day, they are all going to the same classroom to teach, be it at the senior high or junior high level, okay? So we have an issue with that. And then we also have issues bordering on remuneration, which have not been resolved, okay? All these issues we think must be resolved before the program kicks off.
Let's stick to remuneration. If you talk about that, someone would say, what really is the correlation between remuneration and then a teacher writing a special exam to get a license before you'll be able to teach? Okay,
thank you. The issue is, I see, if you're going to roll out something in a sector and there are certain critical issues that remain unresolved, you are likely to encounter challenges. We don't want the whole thing to start and begin to have problems. We want things to be done in such a way that the challenges are tackled, solved, and you roll out the program and everybody goes along with it. Okay, that is the reason. Okay. So the third thing also is, when you roll out such a program, it will demand that some in-service training is done. Okay. Who bears the cost? Is it the teacher unions? Is it the GES? Or is it the government? We should know. And then we also have...
Because from what we know right now, we understand that teachers will be required to renew their licenses from the period 3 to 5 years. And that would mean them showing competence at teaching methodologies, showing competence at different things that would come to play in the classroom, and they would have to show that they have that competence before their licenses will be renewed. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, we don't have a problem with that, because the Ghana National Association of Teachers, as you might be aware, every year goes round, we have teachers that fly down from Canada. So we have CTF GNAT collaboration every year. So what we do is that we pick certain subjects that teachers find challenges delivering in the classroom, and we go around. Every year we choose 3 regions. This year they have just ended they ended in Greater Accra. Okay, so we try to improve upon their performance. We help them to be able to overcome their challenges in those areas, so that they will be able to deliver once they are in the classroom. So we don't have a problem with that at all. But what we are saying is that, you see, the issue is, let us resolve the issues that remain. Clear them off the table. Roll out this program. We don't have any problem.
You don't also have any problem with the part that has to do with the fact that if you're a teacher and you have your students, failing, consistently failing at the Basic Education Certificate Examination or the West African Senior Certificate Examination, you could have your license, revoked. There are some who have argued that, look, a coach can train his players to play in a certain way, in a certain tactical formation on the field. But when he gets to the field, he's not the one really playing the game. It depends on the players to give, their utmost best. And if they don't perform, how do you blame the teacher for that failure?
Okay, over there we have a problem. On that particular issue, we have a problem because you see, the work of the teacher, we see what we deliver in the classrooms, various classrooms across the country, as a collaborative effort.
Okay.
We need a teacher, we need a district assembly, we need a government, we need even the environment in which the schools are sited.
Okay.
You are a newsman, so you might have heard lots and lots of stories about areas where people go to defecate in classrooms. This is a demotivating factor.
Okay.
The teacher gets to the classroom, the pupils or the students, and finds fecal matter in the classroom. What do you think will happen to the teacher? What do you think will happen to the pupils or the students? Okay, so it does mean that all these must come together.
Okay.
So that if you hinge everything on only the teacher and say that if the teacher is unable to get A or B grade or this and that, then the teacher is incompetent, we find it as a problem. Okay. Because it is not only the teacher who is expected to perform in order to get the students to get the grades. Look at a situation where students are in a junior high school, they are given work to do at home, what we normally call homework. Okay, the child gets home, parents are at home, they watch the child to go out and play and come back at 11 p.m. at a time parents are even asleep. The pupil does not even do the homework. The following day, he or she comes to the class, nothing done. The parents don't see anything wrong with that. Now, are you saying that the teacher should be walking from one class, residence to the other, checking on the pupils to ensure that these things are done? It does mean that the parent also has a role to play. I just use one example. So it does mean that when it comes to the work of the teacher, we should look at it holistically. If we only pinpoint the teacher and say that if they don't get these grades, then the teacher is incompetent, we see it as problematic.
So when those issues are resolved, that means you would embrace it?
It means NAT is all for it. Yes.
But other stakeholders are against it.
Well, they have their views.
And that was the PRO of NAT. In the studio, we have the General Secretary of NAGRAT, Stanislaus Nambomi. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
So what are the concerns that NAGRAT has with this policy?
Our concerns have been basically the procedure of licensing, and then the level of consultation between the National Teaching Council, the Ghana Education Service Management, and us as teacher unions. These are concerns. As for the licensing policy, it is a constitutional provision, and we are law-abiding. We will not go against anything the Constitution prescribes. It's a legal issue. Now, on writing exams, we've heard so much. NAGRAT is kicking against exams, teachers are kicking against. No, we are not against the writing of exams. We don't fear exams. But then, the legal framework says teachers should be licensed. It did not say how, the procedure by which they should be licensed. And so, if we have to be licensed, is it by interview, inspection of work? Is it by written exams? These are things we ought to sit down and discuss. After all, we are taking those exams. We are being licensed. But we have not been involved in this. Then you hear somewhere on air that you will be writing an exam. We have issues with it. Now, this licensing...
Have you been to the ministry to put these issues before them, particularly with the consultation and the procedure?
No, it's not even the Ministry of Education that is implementing the policy. It is the National Teaching Council. And we even
Which
have...
operates under the ministry.
Yes, and we have representation on the National Teaching Council. I think the council is made of 15. We have 2 teachers representing the teacher unions. But you raise the issues there, the issues are not addressed. And they say you were part of the issues. You were part of the decisions. Yes, being a part of a meeting doesn't necessarily conclude that you agree with all the decisions. You see, we are only two. So we would have expected, let's sit down. Okay, you are going to be licensed. We are going to conduct exams for you. Or it will be an interview. Or we are going to inspect your work. But these were not done. As we sit, we are talking of in-service training as a requirement. We are talking of continuous professional development. These are all things that will influence a teacher's ability to renew license.
Have these two people, what did they report back to you after these meetings took place of the teaching council?
Yes, even before they go to the meetings, the teacher unions give them a position. Okay, then the positions are tabled at the meeting, but they are not taken. Look, I am a member of the teaching council. I attend these meetings. But decisions like it's going to be a written exam, there's going to be a fee of 150 cedis or 100 to 200 cedis, I don't know of them. They just come out somewhere, announced on air, and then you start following.
So what you're saying is that these decisions were not taken at the teaching council meeting?
No, no.
So where are they coming from then?
Ask again.
But who is the final decision-making body when it comes to implementing this policy?
It's the teaching council, but you see, we are all from different places of work. We may meet for a meeting and go, but you have an executive secretary and you have a chairman. They are there, they meet often and they carry out the day-to-day activities, especially the executive secretary. So these decisions, we are not even saying they are bad decisions. Let us be part of them so that we can own them. That's all. But all out in the blue, teachers to write exams, and you tell me if I write the exams, I should renew my license. We have heard somewhere every year, another place every 3 years, in another instance every 5 years. We are getting confused. You see, let us agree. The writing of the exam is good. The same National Teaching Council conducting this exam is the same council together with Transforming Teacher Education and Learning that have developed teaching standards. And these teaching standards are being used in the colleges of education to train the teacher trainees. Therefore, the exam they write in the colleges of education are based on these teaching standards. Then they complete, and the same National Teaching Council conducts an exam for them. The exam is on the same teaching standards again. I mean, it's duplication of effort.
Really? I mean,
really?
That it happens that you go to school, you learn, you write terminal exams, and you still write a final exam on the same issues you wrote terminal exams
If
on.
you ask me to make a recommendation, the National Teaching Council can set that exam, the licensure exam, and make it a part of the final examination of the trainees in the colleges of education. So that as they write their exams, that paper is also there. And you write it. They have their marking scheme. And then you don't subject people to this duplication of effort.
You see, these are all issues these are all suggestions that could be taken if the teaching council did the proper consultation, as you are saying.
That's it.
My concern is you are a member of the teaching council.
Yes.
A decision has come from the teaching council. Yeah. You are not aware. What are you doing to remedy the situation?
That is exactly what I'm doing here.
But why not go straight to the executive secretary and the chairman?
Yeah, it's another option. And we can't even say that we've not gone to them. We've complained. We've told them we are not happy. We prefer things to be done this way. But you see, the whole licensing procedure is being deified the way Catholics would deify Holy Eucharist. I'm a Catholic myself. Okay? And then some people are arrogating to themselves sole ownership of the whole policy and asking others to run along. It's unfortunate.
But you see, some would say that you've gone for a meeting, decisions some are not in your favor, but then there are still group decisions. So if those decisions come out, whether or not you were in favor of the meeting, of that decision when you were at the meeting, you're bound by what the group decides.
Yes, but if the group has taken a decision that is going to adversely affect the constituents I represent, I carry a mandate of a group of people. It's by virtue of their mandate that I can even sit on that teaching council. So their interest to me is paramount, and that is what I portray at all meetings. But if it is not listened to, if it is not considered, I have to go with them.
So what is next for NAGRAT in this advocacy that you're doing?
What NAGRAT will do, in fact, we intend to hold a press conference tomorrow and raise our concerns, make our recommendations, and make that a copy of that press conference available to all stakeholders. And continue. We're prepared to continue to dialogue so that education can move higher. But if you treat the teacher like anything, and then, you know, teaching is a calling. There's not anybody that enters the classroom that is an effective teacher. That teacher must feel that he is convinced of what he is doing, that it belongs to him, and then things go on right.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Stanislaus Nabomi, for joining us. He's the General Secretary of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT.